So my nephew was asking about finding an internship, and figured I'd just make a video on the topic because when I was a young man, I realized very early on the key to getting the best internships. And what you're often not going to be told is that the best internships aren't advertised. They're not in the paper. They're not listed on Google or some job recruiting website, because this is how it goes. Most internships, just by numbers, most internships are going to be created by a company that feels like they need someone to do some job, some menial task, maybe get some coffee and push some paper, but they're not basing their creation of the internship for you. And that's why when you look for an internship, you're finding internships that don't really, and even you're finding internships that might seem interesting on paper, but once you get there, you find you're not really doing anything, or that you're not going to learn any actual skills or get any real experience. So instead of looking for an internship that way, what I would recommend is actually creating your own. Find the field that you want to study, you're interested in, and start thinking about all of the different jobs, the pieces, the parts of the different aspects of that field. And then pick up the phone and call people in that field. I had a friend asking me about doing an internship in music, and he was calling all these different orchestra companies, and it wasn't really working out for him. So what I recommended that he do was actually call the PA announcer, the actual PA announcer for the local NBA team. And that guy wasn't offering an internship. That guy wasn't expecting anyone to call him. So when he got that phone call and that letter, because I told him to also write a handwritten letter, he immediately responded, called back. He let him come in there, and for 6 weeks, he really sat there and groomed this kid. He gave him one-on-one attention. He showed him what he did. He showed him how he did it. He told him his path. And when he left, not only did he have a valuable experience, but he got a letter of recommendation that is probably going to be unmatched. So once you find the field or the person, I recommend finding out some information about them. Look up their story, any information you can find online, ask people about them, and then write a handwritten letter. Tell them, hey, I know of your work. I'm impressed. I think you've done something great here, and I would love to learn from you. Now, this person is probably not going to be expecting somebody to actually want to work with them. So you need to have in your mind an idea of what they can help you with. Don't call there or don't write that letter and say, hey, can I just be an intern? Otherwise, you will end up just pushing paper. You need to say specifically what you think you can learn from that. Also, try to make it mutually beneficial. That's why I say go to people who aren't expecting it. Different fields that they're not thinking, hey, I could use some assistance. So it doesn't occur to them that you can actually add some value to them. But then when you get on the phone with them and you suggest it, all of a sudden they start thinking, you know what, it would be nice to have somebody to do X, Y, Z for me. And having that list of expectations going into it is really going to help you to make sure that you're getting what you went into the internship expecting to obtain. Certain pieces of information, maybe a certain network, and maybe certain skills. If you're needing an internship or a letter of recommendation, you need to think outside the box. Don't just sit there and go to jobzilla.com and start combing through the different positions that are being offered. The ones that are actually legit internships are going to be incredibly competitive. They're probably going to have some kind of GPA requirement, and they're not going to just take any geek off the street.